Hello and welcome. These are horse racing bets for Wednesday, the 22nd of February. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. All right, coming up, first vid of the week. What do we need? We need the tide to turn. Well, what synergy have I got for you? Synergy says this is the corresponding day last year the tide turned. So this day last year, this Wednesday of the equivalent week, we managed to hit the first £100 profit day. Does that mean that's what's coming? I haven't got a Scooby Doo. Statistically speaking, it probably doesn't. But yeah, there is some synergy with this particular day. We've got history on this day. We certainly need something. It's turned again. It was turning the right way the last 2 weeks. It's turned the wrong way. So what we've got for Wednesday, we've got 135 Newcastle. Is the first race. There are three bets, £20 standard stake day. Lucky 31, combination doubles, each way doubles, and something that you don't see very often on my channel is the middle bet. So that is what is coming up. And before we do that, I'll go through review of Sunday. We'll go through anything that was in the comments. No golf again this week. I've focused purely on horses. I'm looking at Cheltenham and I'm already having a bit of an eye on the Lincolnshire Handicap and the Grand National. So I might have a little mention on those later. And I'm also going to mention a valuable lesson about discipline, because I talk a lot about discipline on the channel and I want to share the story from today from myself of when I was not disciplined, which is unusual for me. And yeah, I would like to share my frustration with myself with everyone. So after I've done the tips, I'll get onto that, and it does relate to the horse that is that I put in the comments for Tuesday. So we'll come back to that. All right, let's get on with it then. So Sunday we had so frustratingly 15 on, 0 back. Last week generally. I would love this week to have no luck, because last week it was all bad. It was all bad. There was no horses falling at the last fence giving us a winner or a place, or no horses falling out the stalls costing us something, or whatever. It was all negative towards us last week. It was really frustrating. So we started off with this bet. And yeah, the Maidan ones weren't great. So Ides of August and Manahir, they were poor. Shannon Bridge was poor. To be fair, I think I picked that horse a bit too soon after it last ran. But then Just Dotty, which was one of my favoured ones, it went to 40-1, and I said I think it should be about 9-1. It ran like a 9-1 shot coming into the home straight. I thought, oh, we're on here. This definitely looks like we're getting placed. And then it just didn't seem to quite keep going and didn't quite do the last fence well enough and ended up being fifth, which is really, really frustrating when it looked like we were on for a good thing there at a nice price. But nothing back. And then the other two on this one that I haven't covered, Ballyam Destiny wasn't great, it was midfield, but Amalfi Skyline. If anyone didn't watch the race, go back and watch the 3 o'clock Newbury from Sunday. It make you want to cry. Yeah, that horse 50-1. It was 100 the night before. The favourite went out, which I wasn't too worried about, to be honest, because I think that put us in a better position, because it was the only horse I thought that horse was certain to win the race. So the fact the favourite came out, I didn't bother about. It was a 50p rule 4. It was annoying, but that's what it is. I thought that puts us in a really great chance then of coming top two, and then turning in again, looking like we were a good thing. 3 fences to go. There was 3 going, and I felt like we were going well. And then completely inexplicably, Gavin Sheehan, I think it was, just fell off, and he looked so frustrated afterwards. I think it happened 4 times last week. In the last few fences, we had a jockey come off or fall. So yeah, to be on a horse at that kind of price, thinking in the home straight we're looking like we're going to do something, and then no. And then yeah, we had non-runner there, which nobody had on anyway. So then it all was on Harmonia Maker, which unseated the second fence, third fence. So I mean, frustration does not cut it. Honestly, I feel like last week I was in the right ballpark on some of the right horses, and it just nothing went right. So yeah, we want to change a fortune. As far as comments go this week, there was nothing in the comments Monday. I didn't put anything, as in I didn't put a selection up Monday. I put one horse up today running in a race in Taunton at 125 to 1, and it was backed into 20 to 1. Now, there will be much debate by some. Some will say, well, the horse was last, so it was rubbish, and it was a bad tip. Some will say, if it was 125 to 1 when you put the bet on, but the SP was 20, then you got more than 5 times the odds of the actual true value of the horse. The latter is how I view it. Because this for some people they won't get it, and some people it takes a long time to understand. But actually being on value is the key thing, and that horse had a huge amount of value. It should never have been 125 to 1. Now it was an outside chance of performing well, but 20 to 1 is a fairer reflection of the horse. I think it went a little bit short. It should have been about 25, 28, so I would have had it at. But yeah, so it came last, and some people will just be like, well, it was rubbish. I would 100% would say that tip was full of value. It was the right horse. The right race, because if you actually look at the race, the horse that won SP'd at 28 to 1. You go through the form of the horse that won at 28 to 1. It wasn't the one I picked out because I like the value of the one I picked out. But you look at that horse, and 3 times it had run over Taunton, and it had ran in marks on the same handicap mark it is now. It was running at today. So 3 times it's run at Taunton. It's run to the same level, same sort of standard, within a few pounds of the same mark. So it absolutely was. It was down to be competitive. The thing against the horse that won is it didn't look like to me that horse was going to benefit from stepping up in distance, which it clearly did do. That would have put me off a little bit. Anywho, I'm going to come back to that blinking horse later on after I've done all of today's bets. Okay, so Wednesday, what do we have? Well, there's not a great deal from a value each way point of view outside of the Punchestown handicaps. So you'll see there's 3 Punchestown handicaps. They look like the best ones because they're about 18, 19 runs paying 5 places. You've got to watch out a little bit because there's a few horses that are the reserves in those. So actually there's going to be less runners. So 2 watch outs with that is 1, any non-runners early doors which put a reserve in, which actually a reserve could be quite a good horse. I've not looked at the reserves for this channel because I'm not going to back a reserve and then it be a likely non-runner. But then even when the non-runners have come out and any reserves have gone in, then any late non-runners are going to knock it down to 4 places rather than 5. That's the other watch out. So I've got my big value dreamy bet, and this is what I've got, and hopefully it's clear because I'm still using this old rubbish computer. So starting off 135 Newcastle, Res Dev Way. I'd make that my value horse of the day, 40 to 1. Sky are the only ones paying 4 on that race, so have a little watch out on that one. That's what makes it slightly Sky preferable. It's an old boy, and last time didn't perform well, but previous to that had been running okay-ish. Clearly not as good as it used to be in its pomp. What it's doing for Wednesdays, it's going back down to 1.5 miles when it's been running at 1 3/4 and 2 miles. I don't think the horse likes 2 miles on the flat. And I think 1 3/4 is all right, but I don't think 1.5 miles is as bad as what people might presume it might be because they think it's an older horse. It's not got the pace. It was a solid enough horse running around 1.5 miles, and I think if you take out that last race from a handicap mark, it's plummeting down as older horses do. And I think this might be the right time to be on. So Res Dev Way 4 is. Then a 210 Newcastle. This is a risky one, but I wanted to include it. It's Vienna Girl in the 210 Newcastle. 6-runner race, novice race. You look at the form and you go, the bottom 2 in the market, you would just want to chuck them out and say it's a 4-horse race. You've then got a solid horse at the top of the market, which looks like it should be the best horse. You've got an unraced horse from Haggis, which could be anything, and on paper looks pretty decent. So then you're looking at then the next 2 down. When you actually compare it on ratings versus weight for the race, this horse is 4th favourite, should be 4th favourite. I would say it should be more like 14, 16 to 1. So there's value at 50s, but I would make it the 4th favourite. but not too far, not far enough away from the others that it's not worth chancing. So the thing with this horse is it ran over bumpers and it won a bumper and it did well. They ran it once over hurdles, was awful, and then they've dropped it in. They've run it 2 quick mile and a half kind of novice-y races, and this on paper what happens is this looks like the third novice race. They're just chucking it in, get it through, and then it will run better in a handicap first time. But actually, given what it's running against and it's forming bumpers, and if you look at breeding, a mile and 2 looks better for it. So there's a few bits I quite like about it, and I know there's value in the price at 50-1. The other thing to flag, if it's still live at the point where you watch this video with Vienna Girl, 80-1 was what you could get on 365, and therefore you can get 50-1 paying 3 plays on 365. That is a brilliant bet, because the chances of that horse being better than third best horse aren't a million miles away. So 50-1 for places, that's basically if you fifth of the odds. So 10-1 that horse come in top 3. That's a brilliant bet. So have a look if you can find 50-1 3 places. Definitely worth a single on it. And then going to Punchestown, 325 Punchestown, west of Carrick, 33s. That's my best one at Punchestown. Then the 4 o'clock Punchestown, Maggie Walsh 10s. The 4:35 Whiskey Lady 8-1. Hopefully you can see my scrawls at the bottom there. It's a 15 pence each way lucky 31. And then I've got a 25p each way double. Oh, that's very hard to read, but that's what that says, sorry. 25p each way double on Resdev Way and west of Carrick. So it makes it 9.80. So that's pretty much half our stake for the day is on this bet one. That's our kind of dreamy bet for the day. So that's that one. Then unusual, bet 2. You don't see this every day with Flat Cap Callum. I've got a combination win bet, 4 races with 2 horses in each race. I haven't gone looking for what else can I fill the day with. I do these bets on occasion myself. I just don't usually do it on the channel, and they're not a frequent bet. You have to have the kind of right conditions, and I actually found 5 races I could have done it with, and I've picked the best 4. These are all smaller fields, 5, 6, 7 runner, I think one of them is. And apart from one, there's not a clear favourite. So I'll run through them, but the top one, that's a 5 runner race, I think it is. And I like the top 2 in the betting. That's nice and simple. Next one down, I'm going against the odds on favourite. I think that actually the best horse is the favourite, but actually because there's weight allowances and things given, actually I think these 2 are handicapped to absolutely give it a run for its money. So I think there's way loads of value in those 2. And then you go down to this 345 Ludlow. I think they've got second favourite and about 6th favourite of 6 or something like that. And then here again, this last race was there was a favourite ahead of those ones, but I would put them fairly similar, and I like these 2 from a value point of view. So what have we got? Because it's complicated. 150 Doncaster, Barton Knoll and Sopran Thor are my 2 in there, 9-4 and 3-1. 215 Punchestown to take on Brandy Love. Brandy Love hasn't run this season. These 2 have. They've got form in the book this year from a handicap mark. It's not a handicap race, but if they were running all at level weights, so you wouldn't touch these 2. But they're not running at level weights, and I think that there's enough weight given with these 2. They can really challenge Brandy Love, unless Brandy Love is some sort of super woman horse. 215 to Queensbrook and Anna Barina, so that's 15-8 and 10-1. Then we've got the 345 Ludlow Volcano and the Big Lens, that's 5-2 and 9-1. Finished off the 355 Newcastle Fluerman and Quercus Rubur. That is 2-1 130. So follow me here, folks. 16 times, so it's all combinations, 20p win 4-folds. So all in your bet slip. That's part 1 of the bet. Then you reuse the selections, but ditch out the bottom 2. So the top 3 are my preferred 3 races. So we ditch out those 2. So with the next 6, that's with the black shape round it. So that's legs 1, 2, and 3. That is 8 times 20p win trebles. And then we've got 2 lots of combination win doubles. So the first two races, so the 150 Doncaster to 215 Punchestown, so that is 4 times 30p win doubles, and the next two combinations, 345 Ludlow and 355 Punchestown, another 4 times 30p win doubles. It's 7.20 you bet, and you want a bog bookie. Sky are pretty good tonight, so I've got these prices locked in for the channel. If there's any drifters, won't count for me for the channel. So it's 7.20 a bet. Some people are going to like that and find it interesting. Some people are like, what are you doing, compromising yourself? Where are these double figure prices that you normally do? Some people are like, that just looks really complicated. I don't think it is complicated, but it might be if you're new to doing these sorts of bets. All right, that's that. And then bet free, more straightforward, kind of mainstream combination double between the first race of Punchestown, the first handicap, absolutely like that, much better. And then the third one is the second best one, is how I would read it. Albeit, as you can see, I haven't found a double figure priced horse that I like, but I think I'm happy with the bet. It just doesn't look the most exciting compared to what you might see on me. So 320, 325 west of Carrick, 33. That's in the Lucky 31. With Rock, Anier and Shantou Lucky both at 12s, going on to 435 Whiskey Lady at 8s, that's in the Lucky, and Wilga Watts at 7 to 1. 6 times 25p each way doubles. £3 is your bet free. All right, hopefully that's clear. Any questions, please put it in the comments. Two other things I was going to mention. So one was I'm starting to have a look at the Lincolnshire and the Grand National. Last year, for the people who have got a memory that casts their mind back, I like the Lincolnshire a lot. It's one of my favourite races of the year, and I like to try and match up Lincoln Grand National double. So some would call it the spring double. And yeah, every year it's a big bet for me to try and do. Very, very hard to get it right. But last year in the Lincoln, had a notable winner in Johan, 28 to 1, which absolutely scooshed the race, almost pretty much made all, and won comfortably. And so I was going to mention, I'm kind of putting out there as a verbal, so it's not going on a piece of paper. So those people who speed through, they're not seeing this. In the Lincolnshire, I absolutely have put some money down on Johan again. It's £1 higher currently than what it was last year, and it's 33 to 1. So sometimes in the Lincoln, you want to see what the draw's like, you want to see what the ground's like. It's not, you're not going to have a worry about is it going to get in, make the cut if you like. It should be in there. But for a horse that won really well last year, that runs well fresh, so it's course and distance winner, £1 higher, runs well fresh. Yes, there'll be some progressive unexposed horses in there, but at 33 to 1, there's quite a few bookies paying 5 places. So Paddy, 33 to 1, 5 places. It's a really sound bet, I would say, because it's likely to be targeted at the race again to defend it. So I think it looks like a good bet at the moment. And then Grand National, I'm having a look at I've been looking for a while at the Grand National, trying to track it out. And now the weights have been announced. The 3 that I was sort of keeping an eye on are much bigger prices. Have all got in basically going to run. If they, as in they're in the top 40 of the horses in there. So yeah, I've looked at 3 horses, all smaller Irish stables. But the one I was going to mention, because I think particularly good value at the moment, which I have mentioned on one of my freebets.com video, for the cross country race. So if it runs in the cross country race at Cheltenham, I've put that up. You can get 40 to 1 on 365 in the ante-post market for Roy Mage. Currently, I haven't looked at all the bookmakers, but it caught my eye when I looked at Paddy Power, because I was looking at the Lincoln, and you can get 150 to 1 on Roy Mage. It's a huge price for a horse that is kind of shown that it might be holding its form with age. Got lots of experience in France. I think the distance shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, and the trainer is an Irish trainer who's got experience with running horses over longer distances and stuff. So yeah, Roy Mage 151 might be worth. I'm just questioning myself now. The trainer's who's the trainer? Patrick Griffin. is he? I don't know. I'm just having a moment now. I don't even know if I might have done himself a disservice. He might not even be Irish. Yeah. I'll check my facts on that one. I thought he was Irish, but then I'm just saying it out loud. I'm not even sure he is. But Roy Major's a horse I like, and it's trained by Patrick Griffin. But yeah, 150 to 1. There's value in that horse. If that turns up, I think you should get a run for your money for that. But the thing is, it will always be a big price because it could be a late bloomer to be fair, but it's an 11-year-old, and people aren't going to want to back an 11-year-old in the Grand National as a red hot fancy. So it's always going to be out there as a much bigger price. But if it turns up at the cross country and runs a decent race, those odds at 150 to 1 will get slashed. So yeah, that's that one. And then yeah, what I was going to finish off with. So my moral of my story about my own betting discipline. So I've mentioned once, I think before, it's come up, people ask about cash outs and stuff, and when do you do cash outs? And I mentioned this one before, because I rarely will I do cash outs. Occasionally what I do is a deliberate cash out. So the horse that was running today in the Taunton race, it was 125 to 1 last night. I just see these things and think, there's not in a month of Sundays is that horse going to be 125. The race was really open. There wasn't a solid short favourite in there. Nothing had great form. The market should concertina down a little bit, and then ones that are fancied will shorten up and others will go out again. But there's no way any horse with some level of form, which that horse did, should have been that price. So my calculations were that it should at least go into about 33s, 40 to 1. So there was going to be some value in it. So this is an example. This is a moral story, but also a betting strategy. So for this horse, I calculated out that if that was the case, if I was right and it was going to go 33s and 40s, I could place two bets. So one bet on this particular one is, again, top tip. On Coral, you occasionally get super boosters, and other bookmakers do similar things. Coral super boosters are particularly good. So for the 125 to 1 shot, I used a super booster. The super booster gave me 160 to 1. So I was sat on that horse today at 160 to 1, and the SP was 20s. So I was 8 times the price. Huge value. So 160 to 1, I put one half of, well, I didn't put one half, I put what I wanted to put down on the horse at 160 to 1. That was with Coral. I then went and placed an equivalent value bet, an equivalent amount of money bet with Paddy Power, just at the 125 to 1, with a view that when the prices went down the next day near to the race, that I'd be able to cash out the Paddy Power bet, because I believed I would get at least double the value of the bet, therefore writing off the cost of the bet with Coral. If that makes sense. So let's simple maths here. If I put £1 on with Coral and £1 on with Paddy, I believe the cash out offer would have been at least £2 with Paddy. So I could withdraw that bet, and therefore I've put my Coral bet on completely free. Now this is a strategy I don't recommend you do unless you're quite happy and confident what it is you're doing, or specifically if I said to you there's a horse, this is probably what you could do it with. When you've got such an extreme, when a horse should never have been 125 to 1, it's an easy win. Now, all great, right? So far the story, I'm hoping you understand what I've done with the bet, and the strategy looks like it's great because the horse has gone down to 20 to 1. It actually got down to 16 as the shortest point. So what have I got? Well, Coral, they're offering me more than treble money to cash out my bet, but I've got it at 160 to 1. That's not what I intended for that. That's my bet. Paddy, for some unknown reason, never gave me a cash out offer that was any different to the stake that I put down. So no matter what happened with the price of the horse, no matter what time of the day, they never changed the cash out offer. All they were offering me was my money back. So what should you do in this situation? Well, I had choices, didn't I? So what I could have gone, well, okay, that's not offering me a better cash out, but I can get triple my money back with Coral. Maybe I can accept that I've lost out the 160, but I'm still guaranteed a return, and I've basically got already guaranteed a 50% profit, irrespective of whether the horse runs. If that makes sense, I'm getting triple money. I could have done that. I could have gone, well, I know I want the 160 because that's worth a lot of money at 160 for a horse that is 20s, and I just take the money out from Paddy because I never intended to put the money down as a bet. But what did I do? I was too narked off, and my own pride got in the way, and I let both bets run. and I absolutely should not let, because I put double the money down that I intended to do, and the only reason I didn't withdraw is out of pride, because I was knocked off, because I felt hard done by, because Paddy hadn't done it, and I didn't want to, like, felt like I'd mugged myself off by just getting my money back when I know the bet was more valuable. So yes, the moral of the story here is, whatever you're staking, remember the reason you staked it. So if you're staking a lucky 15, and if you intend to cash it out at some point, then follow through with it. If you're thinking, no, it's a dreamy bet, don't get to leg 3 and go, I'm just going to cash out now because it's worth a little bit more or whatever. Because if you do that every time, the bookies will have you over a barrel. But yeah, my own pride got in the way of my betting discipline today, and yeah, I was knocked off because I ended up double staking that horse, as in I had a reasonable amount of money on it, but I doubled the amount of reasonable money I put on it, if you catch my drift. And then the fact it was absolutely last and didn't do anything just made it all the more sorer. What absolutely I should have done is taken my money back out of Paddy and swallowed my pride, because I didn't intend to bet that money. So hopefully that makes sense, and you've enjoyed the end of the tonight preambles. I've just realised it's 26 minutes this video. I'm really sorry, that's way long. All right, I'm going now, and I'll be back tomorrow, and let's just hope the signs of the equivalent last year's Wednesday in this week in February bring us joy. As well as, I should have mentioned, I thought I was going to mention that, well done Kitten's Dream. Channel Horse, followed it a number of times. Would I have been on it today? Could have been, won't tell you. What I do know is that Shozman is delighted. So well done, Shozman. Although he won no money, it's one of his favourite horses, and he always likes to mention it. So between that and Mumcat, they're covered. But Kitten's Dream finally had their day in the sun after many times of trying and many times of falling out the stalls and recovering but not quite winning. This time fell out the stalls, recovered and won nicely just on the line. All right, that is me. I'll be back tomorrow. Less anecdotes, shorter video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.